In the summer of 1945, the world stood on the edge of an era no one had seen before. A single aircraft carried a weapon so powerful that it could erase an entire city in the blink of an eye. This was the moment when science, war, and human fate collided. And within just 3 days, humanity would witness destruction unlike anything in history. This is the story of the atomic bomb, and the 2 cities that would forever be remembered in its shadow. By mid-1945, the Second World War was drawing to a close, but the fight in the Pacific raged on. The Allied forces, led by the United States, had been island-hopping across the ocean, pushing back the Japanese Empire inch by bloody inch. Battles like Iwo Jima and Okinawa had shown the world the fierce determination of Japanese soldiers and the horrifying cost of a potential invasion of the Japanese mainland. Allied military planners estimated that such an operation, codenamed Operation Downfall, could result in millions of casualties on both sides. The world was exhausted by nearly 6 years of global conflict, and leaders were desperate for a way to end the war swiftly. Meanwhile, in the isolated deserts of New Mexico, a top-secret project was nearing its climax. It was called the Manhattan Project. For years, some of the world's most brilliant scientific minds, including J. Robert Oppenheimer, had been racing against time and against Nazi Germany to unlock the power of the atom. They weren't just developing a new weapon, they were creating a new force of nature. On July 16, 1945, the Trinity tests proved their success. A tower in the desert was vaporized, and a mushroom cloud billowed into the sky, creating a light brighter than the sun. Oppenheimer famously recalled a line from Hindu scripture, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The atomic age had begun. With this, now terrifying power in hand, the decision fell to U.S. President Harry S. Truman. He had just taken office after the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt and was now faced with a choice of unimaginable consequence. Should he use this weapon to force Japan's surrender and potentially save countless lives that would be lost in an invasion? Or would its use unleash a moral and ethical nightmare upon the world? After Japan ignored the Potsdam Declaration, which demanded its unconditional surrender, the decision was made. The target list was finalized. Among the cities was Hiroshima, a major industrial and military hub that had, until then, been largely spared from conventional bombing. In the early morning hours of August 6, 1945, a B-29 Superfortress bomber named the Enola Gay lifted off from Tinian Island in the Pacific. In its belly was Little Boy, a uranium-based atomic bomb. The flight to Japan was tense, but uneventful. The crew knew they were carrying something unprecedented, but few could have grasped the true scale of what was about to happen. As they approached Hiroshima, the city was just beginning its day. People were heading to work, children were on their way to school, and the morning was clear and calm. The air raid sirens had sounded earlier, but were dismissed as a false alarm, as only a few planes were detected. No one suspected they were anything more than reconnaissance. At 8:15 a.m. local time, the bomb bay doors of the Enola Gay opened. Little Boy was released. It fell for 43 seconds. Then, 1,900 feet above the city, it detonated in a silent, blinding flash of light. In an instant, the temperature at the hypocenter soared to millions of degrees. A massive fireball expanded, incinerating everything and everyone in its path. A powerful shockwave, moving faster than the speed of sound, flattened buildings for miles in every direction. Wood and paper ignited instantly, and a ferocious firestorm soon engulfed what was left of the city. A towering mushroom cloud, a mixture of smoke, dust, and radioactive particles, rose thousands of feet into the air, casting a dark, ominous shadow over the devastation. The immediate aftermath was a vision of hell on earth. The vibrant city was gone, replaced by a smoldering, radioactive wasteland. Tens of thousands of people were killed instantly. Thousands more were severely injured, suffering from burns and the invisible, deadly effects of radiation poisoning. Survivors wandered through the rubble in a daze, their clothes burned away, their skin peeling. The world had never seen such destruction from a single weapon. Yet, even after this unimaginable horror, the Japanese government did not surrender. The War Council was deadlocked, unable to reach a consensus. For the Allied command, The lack of an immediate surrender is confirmation that more pressure was needed. The second atomic mission was greenlit. The primary target was the city of Kakura, but on the morning of August 9th, heavy clouds and smoke from nearby conventional bombing raids obscured the city. After several failed passages, the B-29, named Boxcar, diverted to its secondary target. Nagasaki. Nagasaki was one of Japan's most important port cities, nestled in a series of valleys. In its bomb bay was Fat Man, a more complex and powerful plutonium-based bomb. At 11:02 a.m., Fat Man was dropped over the Urakami Valley, an industrial area of the city. The explosion was even more powerful than Hiroshima's. But the city's hilly terrain contained some of the blast, limiting the area of total destruction. Still, the devastation was immense. A large part of the city was annihilated, and tens of thousands more lives were lost in an instant. The scene on the ground was a horrifying echo of what had happened in Hiroshima just 3 days prior. The second sun had risen over Japan, and the message was now brutally clear. The United States possessed a weapon that could be used repeatedly, wiping out city after city. Faced with the reality of 2 cities destroyed and the threat of more to come, coupled with the Soviet Union's declaration of war and invasion of Manchuria, Emperor Hirohito finally intervened, breaking with centuries of tradition. He addressed the nation directly via a radio broadcast on August 15, 1945. His voice, which most of his subjects had never heard, announced Japan's surrender. The Second World War, the deadliest conflict in human history, was finally over. The world celebrated, relieved that the years of fighting had come to an end. But as the mushroom clouds faded, a new and unsettling era dawned. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki remain one of the most controversial and debated events of the 20th century. Were they a military necessity that saved more lives than they took by preventing a bloody invasion? Or were they an unnecessary act that set a terrifying precedent for the use of nuclear weapons? These questions are not easy to answer, and historians, ethicists, and survivors continue to grapple with them today. The legacy of these 2 days in August is complex. Their stories are a solemn reminder of the human cost of war and a powerful plea for peace and nuclear disarmament. Thank you for watching. If you found this documentary meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the pivotal moments that shaped our world.